Undergraduate, I have about 177,000.
Like 75% of students don't work in the field that they got their degree in.
The Department of Education announced that on May 5th, we will restart collections of student loans in default.
They claim that cutting taxes for individuals for as much as 3 years ahead is risky.
Universities are now run like businesses. Students are seen as customers. The traditional 4-year college is no longer the only way, and maybe that's a good thing. So I recently went to a friend's graduation at Princeton University. Very stunning campus. You can see why people dream of going there. So we were like chatting and celebrating, and then she casually said something. I know, right? And we pay $80,000 per year for this. I was like, wait, what? $80,000 per year? That's like what, 320,000 US dollars over the 4 years. And this is just tuition and fees. It doesn't even include rooms, boarding, or books, and interest that builds up over the 4 years. That's crazy. In a country as developed and wealthy as the US, why does it cost more to attend college than to buy a house in most places? Why are students graduating with 6 figures in debt before they even land their first job? Why is this education, a basic engine of opportunity, so financially crashing? Let's rewind. After World War II, college in America became a golden ticket. The GI Bill made it free or affordable for returning veterans. Public universities were state-funded, tuition was low, and a college degree became a ladder out of poverty.
But now that the cost of living is so high, even though you have the degree, your job and your cost of living are almost equal. I feel like before, in society, you would, get a great career, a great degree, and you would be thriving in, your standard of living. But now you're just working, people are just working just to pay their bills.
Guys looking to go to college.
The government pays all of your school bills up to $500 a year, and living expenses of $50 a month, or $75 a month if you have dependents.
In 1947, nearly half college admissions in the United States were veterans studying under the GI Bill.
GI Bill, best thing that ever happened. Free education all the way. I got about 5 years out of it.
The Veterans Administration made sure GIs like Whidden knew they had benefits coming to them.
But then came the 1980s, Reagan-era tax cuts.
Our bipartisan bill gives a 25% reduction over 3 years. Now, as you can see by this chart, there is the 22% tax increase. Their cut is below that line, but ours wipes out that increase and with a little to spare. Incidentally, their claim that cutting taxes for individuals for as much as 3 years ahead is risky.
States started cutting funding for public colleges. Schools had to find money elsewhere, and they looked to students. It was just a simple shift. The burden moved from the government to the individual, and year after year, the price went up. And as schools raised prices, they started spending more on fancy dorms, climbing walls, athletic programs, branding campaigns.
Here, there's a spirit that makes people move a little differently. And degrees with inbuilt internships. You learn directly from those with experience.
Anything to attract students willing to pay top dollar. Today, less than half of your tuition actually goes to the classroom instruction. Between 1980 and now, the number of college administrators has more than doubled. Universities are now run like businesses. Students are seen as customers. And what do businesses do when they want to grow? They build. they brand, and they hire more staff. So you are not just paying for professors, you are paying for branding departments, the new assistant vice provost, and sometimes even the new football stadium. And to pay for this, students borrow and borrow and borrow.
I took out private and federal loans, so the private started kicking in right away, but the federal hadn't kicked in because of all of my taxes and because I haven't worked for a full year yet. It hasn't fully gone in. So I am income based, and so it was seeing that I wasn't working while I was in school, so it didn't start kicking in.
The student loan industry in the US is now worth over $1.7 trillion. It's easy to think this is just about money, but it's not. It's about choices like delayed dreams, skipped home ownership, mental health stress.
Realistically, I would love to move out of my house as soon as possible. My parents have been nothing but supportive, but everybody wants to move out and be on their own. So I'm taking a step right now and I'm living at home trying to pay off some of that rent, some of those loans, and trying to build up a little bit so that, when I'm able to move out, I can move out and pay my loans at the same time. So I'm trying to save for a little bit because if I didn't have those loans, I would be able to move out right after graduation.
And the worst of all, the people hit the hardest are often the ones who come from the least.
So every person is unique and different in the way of what they have financially. So I was fortunate enough to have both of my parents, living together, having dual income. But in the realm of loans, they see that as, oh, we have money to pay for all of this, when in reality, that's not usual that you can just pay for all of those loans right off the bat.
College was supposed to be the great equalizer, but for many, it has become a trap.
That would provide student debt relief, and I'm honoring that commitment today. Using the authority Congress granted the Department of Education, we will forgive $10,000 in outstanding federal student loans. In addition, students who come from low-income families, which allowed them to qualify to receive a Pell Grant, will have their debt reduced to $20,000.
Washington has noticed. Presidents have promised to act. The Biden administration tried forgiving billions in loans. Some of it happened. Some of it didn't. Courts got involved.
The nation's capital, the U.S. Supreme Court says the Biden administration's plan to cancel student loans will remain blocked for now, but the justices have agreed to take up the case in late winter.
Politics, as usual. See, the challenge is bigger than loan forgiveness. We need a structural reform, like capping tuition, holding colleges accountable, and incentivizing states to reinvest in public education. Other countries did it, so why not US?
I feel like it is basically just a status symbol for most parents to say their kid is going to a prestigious college or college in general. It's overpriced. 75% of students don't work in the field that they got their degree in.
So some are opting out entirely, like trade school, online learning, skill-based path. The traditional 4-year college is no longer the only way. And maybe that's a good thing. But still, education matters. College can open doors. The dream is still alive. But the cost of that dream is starting to feel like a nightmare. If we believe in opportunity, in fairness, in giving people a shot, then we need to rethink how we fund the future. Because right now, college in America is less about learning and more about surviving the debt.